My husband, 68, and I, 65 female, have 3 children, 38 male Steve, 37 male Ryan, and 35 male Owen. My husband was a standout athlete and went to college on a scholarship to play football. Steve and Owen were also very athletically gifted and spent a lot of time with their dad playing sports. Ryan was into debate club and drama club. Unfortunately, my husband spent most of his time with them and regularly excluded Ryan. When Ryan was 14, he commented to me that he probably wouldn't join any clubs in high school since his dad wouldn't be proud of him since it wasn't sports. My husband overheard and was annoyed by that statement, so he spent some one-on-one time with him for 3 months. But once sports season started, that time came to an end. He did end up joining the speech and debate club, and my husband attended a handful of meets. When he made state, he was ecstatic. We invited both families, and I told my husband he'd be better there with our 2 sons. They showed up but left to tour the college campus halfway through because the tournament was boring. They ended up missing our sons present. Ryan was devastated, and he told me that when he graduated, he was moving away for college and not coming back. He went to college out west and joined their forensics and debate team and won a national championship. I attended, but his dad chose to take Steve and Owen to a hockey game instead. Ryan ended up in law school and is now a junior partner at a firm. He got married a few years ago and just gave us our first grandchild last year. Our son allowed us to meet our grandson, but then told us that he doesn't plan to move back, ever, or visit our hometown anytime soon, as he doesn't want any of his kids around my husband and his brothers because of the favoritism. My husband was livid and told Ryan it was time for him to grow up and stop blaming him for his issues. My husband is now angry because he feels like Ryan is being petty and stubborn and ridiculous. I finally had enough of his whining and told him that I had warned him about his exclusion of Ryan and blatant favoritism for his brothers over him, and that I have no sympathy for him now that Ryan has decided to cut him out. I told him he needs to go to therapy and work this out and his issues there. I've been out west 3 times since without my husband because he feels Ryan is being ridiculous, and he's still angry at me for supporting Ryan and not defending him when he said he showed favoritism. He used our other sons to try and guilt me into talking to Ryan about being immature and causing a rift, but I said I don't feel like it's my job to defend something I warned him about years ago. They told me I was being overdramatic, and now they see where Ryan got it from. I told them they were allowed their opinion, but I was no longer hosting family holidays and they could fend for themselves from then on. So I went out west over Easter and spent it with Ryan and his family. My husband claims I'm showing favoritism now and that I'm an idiot. So am I? Not the idiot. Good for you to acknowledge your husband's favoritism and not ignore your other son. He's successful and doesn't need your husband's approval. You should be proud that your son has the courage to stand up to his father. Stay the course. Don't lose your son to make your idiot husband happy. Husband is clearly still showing favoritism and refuses to learn from mistakes. So now he's losing opportunities with Ryan and grandkids at his own fault. Instead of manning up, guys like him seem to have small man issues. So he doubled down and called in his favoritism and got the favourite sons to gang up on you, which eventually pushed you away to Ryan, who's treating you fairly. Saying you're playing favourites is a joke and pathetic since you're not giving Ryan anything like how he does with the other sons. As you say, you warned your husband repeatedly about his blatant favouritism, and now he's reaping the consequences, and he's downplaying the seriousness of his actions. I don't blame you one bit. I'm going to go with everyone's the idiot here. You were right, but now you're, based on your description, showing favourites against your husband and other sides. Perhaps rightfully so, but that may bite when your other sons have kids. Continue your visits to Ryan and his family without your husband. But spend time with your other children as well. If they complain about Ryan, shut them down and tell them you won't discuss it. Your husband's relationship and your son's with Ryan is their burden. Don't feel like you need to make up for that abandonment. My wife, 30 female, and I, 29 male, have a little girl, pre-tween, who I'll be calling Anna. Now, Anna has thick blonde curly hair that my wife adores. Ever since she was a toddler, she'd spend hours doing her hair every day, braiding it, straightening it, and styling it in all sorts of ways. As a result, our bathroom cabinets are always filled with a bunch of hair lotions, oils, creams, and other fancy products I don't even know the names of. So I think it's more than fair to say that my wife's obsessed with the whole hair thing. Anna, however, has never been too fond of getting her hair done, or of anything that involves having to sit still for more than a few minutes. Before she got it cut, her hair used to reach past her waist, and while it looked lovely, she hated getting it brushed, and every morning used to be a screaming fest between her and my wife. Lately, she'd been begging for a shorter haircut. My wife ignored her whenever the topic was brought up in hopes that she'd forget about it, but none of that happened. I think Anna realized she was getting nowhere with her mom because she started asking me to take her instead. I was reluctant to at first because I didn't know how my wife would react, but I agreed when I saw just how excited the kid was over something as simple as a haircut. So yesterday I drove her to the hairdresser, where she got to flip through many magazines and pick a picture of a haircut. And when she chose a short clipper cut, I knew I would be in deep trouble with my wife. At that point, though, there was no turning back. I mean, what could I really have done? Tell her that no, she can't get the haircut she was so over the moon about, all because her mom wouldn't like it? I couldn't do that. So we went ahead with the haircut, and by the end of it, Anna couldn't stop smiling. She went around the salon showing it off to everyone and even asked me to take a bunch of pictures, even though she usually hates having pictures taken of her. We did get one rude comment from an older woman at the salon, something along the lines of, "You can't even tell if she's a boy or a girl now," but Anna was way too excited about her hair to notice, and if she did notice, she didn't care. When my wife got home from work that day, things quickly took a turn for the worse. She refused to look at Anna, locked herself in her room, cried, got in the car, and drove off. It's been a day now and she's still not back. It's honestly starting to worry me. I knew she wouldn't react well to the haircut, but I wasn't expecting her to take it this badly. The kid's upset too, and no matter how much I reassure her, she still thinks she's in trouble for getting her hair cut. Am I the idiot? I realise how attached my wife was to Anna's hair, but I still think it's just hair at the end of the day. The kid's old enough to decide these things for herself, and she was happy with the haircut, so I don't think I did something wrong here. Not the idiot, but crying, locking herself away, and driving off are not normal responses, even for someone really upset. Is something else going on with your wife? There's a whole boatload of concerning behaviours here that seriously need to be dealt with, but right now you need to make sure Anna knows that she did the right thing. Her hair is beautiful, and none of this is her fault or responsibility. Your wife needs to see her daughter as more than just a head of hair. Besides being messed up, exercising control over your kids' bodies also just never goes well for anyone. Mom is essentially removing any bodily autonomy for this poor girl, and she will probably grow up to resent her. It seems like she's already started. You are the idiot, but not for letting the kid have a haircut she wanted. That part is fine. For not taking the time and effort to sit down with your wife first and talk it out, try and see why she was so attached to the hair. Try and get her to see that it's really the kid's call. Look for a solution, because this has to be about more than just hair. That is not a normal reaction to a child getting a haircut, no matter how much you dislike it. Do you really believe there's a scenario in which a conversation here will magically work wonders with someone who acts this crazy over her daughter's hair? Your wife sees the daughter as a trophy child, something she can show off. OP, this is probably the time for your wife to learn that Anna is her own person and has her own preferences, so please don't stop advocating for your daughter. My 26 male sister, 24, graduated from college 2 years ago. Her degree was in political science with a minor in finance. She's held one job, her current job, which she started 6 years ago. She works part-time in a clothing store. Her goal with her degree was to work in the office of a local or state or federal politician. Or her second choice is to work at a financial firm. It's been 2 years since she graduated, and she hasn't had any luck getting a political or financial job. I know the reason why. My sister only dresses in vintage. She looks like she's from the 1950s. She calls it rockabilly. It fits in perfectly at the clothing store, but no political or financial office will hire someone who dresses in 1950s clothing and shoes or hair and makeup. My sister dresses like this 24/7, 365, even when she's alone or at night. She dyes her hair red and only wears heavy makeup. The last time she complained to me about not being able to find a job, I said she shouldn't go to job interviews unless she's dressed in modern and business formal clothes and hair and makeup. I only said something because she complained to me and wouldn't stop. She got furious with me. She said, "I don't understand how these jobs or interviews work. That's because I dropped out of high school after grade 10. I have dyslexia and my grades sucked. So the school agreed to pass me at the end of grade 10 because I was dropping out. Otherwise, I would have been held back instead of going to grade 11 and sent to a remedial school because the public school couldn't help me. I've worked in a kitchen at a restaurant since I dropped out. I may not have gone to college, been on a job interview, or worked in an office, but even I know that dressing in rockabilly is not allowed in a financial or political office. They will say next as soon as she goes to an interview like that. My sister says she shouldn't have to compromise her identity to get a job. Even I know that's BS. If she wants to dress like that on her time, it's fine, but no job she's trying for will accept it. She has the degree and the right skills, but even I know how she dresses is holding her back. Should I not have said what I said to her? Not the idiot. I love vintage, but she's going the whole hog, not just the look, and you're right. It's not going to get her past the interview. She can still add some vintage touches here and there, but full-on rockabilly style will stop her. Is it right? No, but it's the way it is. She has two choices: dress the way she wants and stay at the clothing store, or modify her look and see what happens. That's an option. See if she's willing to go more mainstream for an interview just to see what happens. Not the idiot, and you're correct. I'm a hiring manager. I've worked in many fields. I would not even give her a full interview because I wouldn't take her seriously, as I would assume someone coming in dressed like that would not take the job seriously, and I know my candidate wouldn't work well with her. And a financial firm? I don't care what state, they wouldn't touch her. She has a dramatic style that doesn't fit with a conservative job. Nothing wrong with the style, but she won't get a job in her field that way. Politics and finance are notoriously conservative industries. There's an expected presentation, and people who don't conform to that aren't getting a job. I suspect she's fully aware of this and is using it as an excuse not to have to move forward in her life and career. So I, nearly adult female, have two rabbits that I love very much. About a week ago, my aunt and cousin, tween male, came to our house for lunch. My cousin felt down because his parents were getting divorced, so I showed him my rabbits. I warned him to be gentle and not startle them as they're shy, and at first, it went all right. I have no idea what struck him, but my cousin decided to bring the rabbits outside after a while. He picked one of them up and headed for the door. I went after to stop him as my rabbits are strictly indoors, but he wouldn't return her to me. He opened the front door and put her down, and my rabbit bolted because she was scared. I don't remember much of what happened next. I just remember yelling at him, crying, looking for my rabbit frantically, which probably scared her into hiding, and screaming at my mother and aunt too when they did nothing to help. At the end of the day, my aunt gave me $300 for my lost rabbit, saying she would deduct it from my cousin's savings, and that was when he started to cry too. I didn't want the money but took it anyway because at least my cousin got punished. 4 days passed and I would go around the neighbourhood to find my rabbit whenever I had the chance. My other rabbit also showed significant anxiety without a buddy. At last, I found her in the yard, a little dirty but otherwise looking okay. I spent some of my cousin's money for a check at the vet's, then kept the rest of it. Now my cousin learned that I had found my rabbit, he had been pestering me to return him the money. I told my aunt about it and she told me to ignore him, but my mother said I should at least return the remaining money to him since I found my rabbit and all was well. So I'm not angry at him anymore, but I don't want to and probably won't return his money. Am I the idiot for this? Not the idiot. You could have potentially lost your pet due to your cousin's actions, and since your aunt just said to ignore him and keep it, do so. Don't let your mother try to intervene when you already got confirmation to keep the remaining money. Besides, that will teach your cousin not to mess with others' pets when he's explicitly told not to. Yes, consider the money indemnification for stress rendered. You'd be the idiot if you did return it by undermining aunt's punishment. The kid didn't listen and paid a high price. That money is his idiot tax. He nearly got your pet killed and lost for a week. He should be glad it's just $300 for the day and not more, or taking something he loves and chucking it outside for the local critters to chew on. I'm pretty impressed with aunt's parenting, especially in light of an ongoing divorce. Good for her for sticking to her guns on this. My brother is getting married to his fiancée in a month. After a request from my future sister-in-law, we've just been informed that my mom and my brother won't have a mother-son dance at their wedding. The reason? My future sister-in-law hates my mother. She's actually jealous of her and the bond she has with my brother. She's basically pulled them apart and my brother barely speaks with my mom anymore. She'll have a dance with my dad, but my mom won't have a dance with her own son because my sister-in-law decided that. I told my brother how absurd that is, and he said that it's a choice they mutually made and we have to respect it. But I'm not buying that. My mom has been crying all week long about how she won't dance with her son at the wedding and she feels like she's losing her son to my sister-in-law. Not being able to continue seeing my mom like that, I called both of them and started cursing them out about how ashamed they should be and how we were his family, his sister and his mom. We were here before and now he just brushed us aside. Our relatives told me I'm the idiot for trying to intervene in their wedding choices like that, but I'm not sure. Been to 20 weddings and never seen a mother and son dance. But I've been to 20 weddings and seen a mother dance with their son 20 times. Your mother doesn't need the spotlight to dance with her son on his wedding day. You are the idiot for going the offensive route. OP is the idiot. Mother-in-law is using guilt and manipulation to get what she wants. OP is a flying monkey. I'm guessing that OP and family are not exactly the best, and the brother is using this occasion to set some boundaries. No wonder they don't want a mother-son dance. OP, how do you know that it's your sister-in-law pushing your mom away and not resulting from anything your mom has done? I gotta say, it's not usually the bride that's jealous of the relationship between her fiancé and his mom, but the other way around. You are the idiot. A father-daughter dance is traditional. A mother-son dance isn't. And the fact a grown woman has cried for a week over it is incredibly manipulative and just a bit pathetic. In all honesty, it sounds like your brother has distanced himself for a reason. You'll find yourself in that position if you don't try and understand why.